time will stay flies, so still flies. So that's why they cut me off. So I apologize about that. So let me get back to where I was. Self-directed IRA. So it's a type of IRA where you could basically invest in alternative investments. So real estate notes, tax liens, commodities, precious metals. There's a ton of things you can invest in. I specifically do mine to do notes. So I use my self-directed IRA to lend money to real estate investors and other people who are looking for money. I lend mine. So I become the bank. I lend my money out and I can't touch it until retirement. So I'll go over that in a little bit. But this account, it has to be administered by a custodian or a trustee. But you are the direct manager of that account. So you make all the decisions. And I'll go into that in a little bit. As far as contributions limits, there are some. It's the traditional contribution limits for all IRAs. Same thing for self-directed. So in 2022, it's $6,000. If you're over age 50, it's 70. I'm sorry. If you're over age 50, it's $7,000 you can contribute per year. Next year they're going up, so 2023 is going to be $6,500 per year, and if you're over 50, it could be $7,500. So that's what you can contribute as far as money out of your pocket for that calendar year. You're limited to contributing only that annual IRS limit, but there's no cap on your earning potential. In fact, if you Google Mitt Romney, I know y'all familiar with him, he ran for president a few times against Barack and lost. He's senator somewhere, I think Utah, one of those over there. But anyway, he makes millions of dollars in his self-directed IRA. Basically, what he does is he invests in businesses that he knows. So it's so many things you could do with this. And I just saw Womack and Jahan. What's up, y'all? I saw Albert. I see y'all. Actually, Womack was my first borrower, so I'll go in discussion on that in a second. But he was my first. I made my first loan to Womack out of my self-directed IRA. But so why would you go to self-directed? Why would you go the self-directed IRA route? So basically, in my opinion, the number one reason is just to take control of your funds and invest in what you know. So I know real estate, so I take my funds out of my retirement account and I invest with people that want to invest in real estate. So I lend money to investors that invest in real estate because I understand real estate. So, and then another reason is just to diversify out of only being in the stock market. Like we're so conditioned that we go to work, we get a job, and we invest in mutual funds and stocks and stuff. We're conditioned to do that. This is totally different. This is flipping it. You know what I mean? I'm still invested over there, but I also have this separate, pile over here that I'm investing in real estate with my retirement account. So I didn't get a chance to, actually, man, I forgot to talk about. So today we sponsored by Buffalo Trace. This is what we sponsored by today. I hope y'all brought y'all drinks. This one is not a regular one either. This is a single barrel select from the Bourbon Society at Baton Rouge. I'm a member of, and it's a small bottle, so we titled this one Ant-Man. All of them be Marvel or DC characters. It's good though, the shit rolling. But anyway, back to business. So I didn't get a chance to look up the performance year to date. What up, Brandon? I didn't get a chance to look up year to date performance, but I can tell you, like S&P 500. I know it was a good day today. But S&P, Dow, NASDAQ, Bitcoin, all that shit down. So if you look at your accounts year to date, so 2022, all that shit in the negative. I guarantee it. So this is just another alternative way to get out of that. So that way you're not 100% tied to, the stock market. So I actually started doing mine back in June or July of 2018. And I've been really good with it. Like all I do is make loans. So, and you don't even have to have a lot to start. Like I honestly had 44 or $45,000 in mine when I started. Now I'm into the six figures now. But Womack, he on here. What's up, Felicia? Womack was my first borrower. I loaned him some money to buy a property, and he bought the property and he refinanced and paid me back. So he just needed to acquire the property because it was a foreclosure, so he needed to acquire it fast because the people were basically about to lose it. So he borrowed the money from me. He got a loan from a bank, paid me back. Interest, paid me back plus interest. It worked for everybody because I'm not sitting there running credit checks. You don't have to go through all the red tape. It's a simple process. Literally, I can fund in one day if I wanted to. I'm not going to fund that fast because I'm going to do my homework, do my due diligence, make sure that, what I'm lending to is legit. Make sure that I'm going to get a lien on the property, like all that stuff. Like I'm not just going to give you my money because it's my retirement. I'm not just going to give it to you without doing my homework. So back to custodians. I mentioned that earlier, self-directed IRA, you have to have a custodian. So that could be a bank, credit union, or other financial institution. The role of the custodian is basically to administer the self-directed IRA and to hold the account investments for safekeeping and ensure compliance with the IRS rules. So yeah, you did. Y'all see him down there? He bought 2 properties without spending any money out of his own money. So I lent him money out of my self-directed IRA to buy 2 properties, and he paid me back plus interest. So it makes sense. I ain't gonna go over the specific numbers of all that stuff, but it makes sense. The custodian, something I wanted to mention. So I use iPlan Group. They're in Ohio. Like it doesn't matter where they're at, as long as they're in the U.S. They can be your custodian. I use iPlan Group in Ohio. I've been with them since 2018. So far, so good. No complaints, no problems. If y'all ever decide y'all want to look into this, and you want to go through iPlan Group, mention my name, and I think we both get like $50 or something like that. But just notice the custodians, they cannot give any type of financial advice for your self-directed IRAs. They're really only there for compliance. That's it. Like, they're there to make sure that you don't violate any IRS rules. So, which means they can't do any research, due diligence, or management of your assets. So it's basically all on you. So any decisions you make is all on you. And then also I want to mention, if you have money sitting in your self-directed IRA and then you're not invested in anything, you're earning 0%. So you have to make the money work for you. You have to be out there either investing in property, investing in notes, whatever. You need to be having it working for you. Otherwise, it's earning 0%. There's something you might have heard of or may have come across called a checkbook IRA. It's okay. I would say do your homework, do your due diligence, because with a checkbook IRA, essentially what that is you're removing that custodian that I just talked about from the process, and it places like an extra burden on you to ensure that you don't violate any of the IRS rules. Because like I said, the custodian is there to protect you from the IRS, to make sure you're not violating any of the rules. If you do violate the rules, you're going to owe a shitload of taxes on the money and penalties. So it's really important. It's not that difficult though. As long as you stay, it's easy. It's fairly easy. You just fill out some paperwork. It's like a checklist. They monitor with the custodian. It's easy. Something else I want to point out, if you ever did decide to like buy real estate with your self-directed IRA, it has to be titled in the IRA's name, not your name. It can't be titled in your individual name. It has to be like, it's a specific way it has to be written, and the custodians that'll protect you with that, they'll help you with that. So it can't be in your individual name. So remember earlier I told you there's a shit ton of things you can invest in. It's only a handful of things you cannot invest in with a self-directed IRA. Those things are life insurance policies, S corporation stock, collectibles, or any investment that constitutes a prohibited transaction. So collectibles, we're talking like a wide range of items. We're talking artwork, alcoholic beverages, certain ones, baseball cards, memorabilia, jewelry, stamps, rare coins. As far as prohibitive transactions, this one is very, very, very important. Actually, I got a slide I want to show you. Not a slide, a screenshot. Like I said, if you break any of these rules, the entire account, it could be considered distributed to you, meaning income to you, and you'll be on the hook for all the taxes for that amount, plus a penalty. So just make sure you follow the rules. It's not hard. As far as, before I go to this slide, the following are examples of possible prohibited transactions. So think of like self-dealing. So if you have a self-directed IRA, you can't borrow money directly from it. I can't lend money to myself, because if that's the case, I charge myself 30% interest, 40% interest, to make that account grow. So that's why you can't lend money to yourself. You have to lend it to others. I can't sell property directly to my IRA. That's still considered self-dealing. I can't use my IRA as security for a loan. I can't buy property for personal use either with my IRA. So just anything that's considered self-dealing, just think about it like that. If you do decide to, I've never done it like this, but if you do decide to buy like real estate, because a lot of people do it. Like if you want to buy real estate in your IRA's name, you can't do any of the work. So let's say you buy rehab property, you can't pick up a hammer, you can't do anything, because it's considered self-dealing. So you will be on the hook for taxes and penalties if the IRS found out. How would they find out? I don't know. I ain't even trying to take that. I ain't messing with it. So anyway, you would have to hire somebody to do all of the work, and you have to pay them directly out of the IRA. A disqualified person. Earlier I mentioned a disqualified person, and I'm going to show you what that is. Essentially, the IRA owner and members of his or her family. So think like spouse, ancestor, lineal descendant, and any of the spouses, lineal descendants. So think about it like this. Anybody above you, below you. Actually, let me show you. I got it right here. I'm tripping. Where is that? I got it. Okay. Can y'all see that? So essentially, a disqualified person would be anybody above you. So your parents, your grandparents, anybody up, your ancestors. And then your children. You can't lend money to your children. You can't buy property for your children, things like that. And then spouses. So it doesn't say anything about like cousins. It doesn't, any sisters and brothers. You can lend money to your sisters, brothers, cousins, whatever. You could buy property from them. Like they're not considered a disqualified person. So essentially, if they're not on above or below or your spouse, anybody else can get money or whatever with your self-directed IRA. Let me. Yeah, I've been practicing, bro. I've been practicing. So yeah, so let me stop sharing that right quick. So pros and cons. So in my opinion, a pro with a self-directed IRA is it gives you choices. Like you don't have to just be tied to the stock market. You can literally invest in things you know and things you understand and love. Like me, real estate investing specifically. Invest in things you're familiar with. If you know a specific area, it doesn't have to be real estate. I keep talking about real estate because that's me. But if you know a specific type of industry, and if you like, say for instance, you know cars, antique cars, and that's your thing, like you could purchase an antique car with your retirement account, and then resell it and keep the profits in your retirement account. So just think about it. You have all the control. Like you make all the decisions. You decide what you want to invest in. And then you can also get debt. Like you can borrow. Like I could purchase, if I wanted to, I could purchase a property and get a loan on that property. So I could buy the property with my IRA and with a bank loan. It's called non-recourse debt. And then if I default, the bank can't come back after me, like personally, because it's non-recourse. As far as cons, it's not as easy, you know, from an investment standpoint as just selling stocks. You can't just go online and click a button and you got an investment or asset. You can't do that with this. You have to fill out a few documents. Not hard, but you got to do it. And like I said earlier, if the money isn't invested at all, like if you just have the money sitting in an account, you earn 0%. And then there's a ton of different fees. Different custodians charge different fees. I've been with the same company for 4.5 years. The reason I chose them, I looked at a ton of different companies and narrowed it down to 3. I went with them because at the time, I haven't researched this since, but at the time they had the lowest fees. And so every time you basically do a transaction, you're going to pay a fee. Anytime there's wire fees, there's annual account maintenance fees, depending on how much your balance is. So there's just fees of doing business, but that's okay. So what I do, like I said earlier, actually, hold on, let me show you this real quick before I forget. So this is a book I read on it. Actually, I have it on my bookshelf right here. So this is a good one if you're interested in learning more about self-directed IRAs. It's called Self-Directed IRA in a Nutshell. Pretty easy read. That's one I would recommend. And then this one right here is significantly, this is probably the best book on it, period. Like this give you every little scenario. This thing right here, detailed as hell, Self-Directed IRA Handbook. So if you ever, interested, if y'all have questions, post them below because I'm almost done. If you ever have questions on self-directed IRAs, like this is the book. Oh, my bad, Sherelle. Can I roll over money from a 401k from a previous job to a self-directed IRA? Yes, you can. So what I did when I started my balance, I had, when I started my self-directed IRA account, I rolled over money from a Roth IRA that I had at Vanguard. So yes, you can roll over money to a self-directed IRA. Ariel, when I could so right now she has when she could borrow. So all of my money right now is tied up in a project in Houston. And so here's the cool thing. Like I mentioned earlier, you can literally do whatever you want, right? So I got a loan right now in Houston on a new development project. I'm getting 20%. Like 20%. That's crazy, huh? But it ain't. It really ain't. It works for both. Like it might sound high. I'm getting a 20% return on my money, but it works for the developer too in Houston. Like he came to me to borrow the money, but he don't have to go through a bank. He don't have to provide tax returns, check stuff, W-2s, all that. He don't got to do that with me. Like I just need to look at the property, analyze the property, make sure it makes sense. So the numbers work for him too. Obviously, if he paid me 20%. So there's so many ways to do this. But yeah, my money tied up in Houston right now on a project. And I didn't loan to this guy like 6-7 times. I forgot how many times. We did a lot of different loans. I like to do short-term loans because I like to flip the money. You get the money back, put it out again, bring back more money and interest, So that's the cool thing about it. Mine is a Roth IRA, or Roth self-directed IRA. So all the money I'm earning inside of it, don't have to pay taxes on when I pull it out of retirement. some of the loans I made, you know, Womack mentioned earlier, I made him 2 loans. He was my first 2 loans that I ever did back in 2018. And he did it to acquire property. You know, it was fast. He needed the money fast. I gave him the money. He paid me back. So that was one. Another one, so he needed the money to acquire the property. I've lent money to renovate the property. Like they needed the money. They already owned the property. They just needed the money to renovate the property and make it nicer. I've done that. And then also something I didn't mention. Every time I do these loans, I take a collateral out. Like I ain't about to just give you the money and if you don't pay me back, I'm screwed. So I take a lien out on the property just as if a bank would. So that way, if they don't pay me back, then I foreclose on the property. Then I got a property. I don't want to do that because that's extra money involved, extra time. I don't want to do it, but I'm protecting myself in the event I have to, just like a bank would. Another, like you got to think outside of the box with this. Like I've lent money 3 times to this guy out in Baton Rouge who owns a auto, like a mechanic shop. Basically, he buys cars at auctions, then he fixes them up and puts them on his lot and sells them. So I've lent him money 3 times to buy cars at auction to basically replenish his inventory. I took liens out on his cars too. So it's different. I've lent money to a guy in Shreveport that owns a bar to replenish to stock his inventory. So, you know, it doesn't have to be like your traditional thinking. Like you could think different things. And I ain't gonna lie, like I didn't even take collateral out on that with the bar. It's one of my frat brothers. I know him really well, but you just got to think differently. Like you can make money in this. And granted, I can't touch any of it until retirement, but it's still a way to increase my retirement accounts without having to rely on the market, the stock market. You mean pay back for it? Man, this dude. So look, let's see on my list over here. So that's all I got. So next week, how do your people know that you're a lender? So I just tell people, like right now. I'm telling people right now that's gonna get recorded and posted. I used to, I don't do it as much anymore, but I used to go to all the local real estate investor association meetings and network and tell people I have money. They flock to you when you say you have money. That's all they always have deals and looking for the money to finance those deals. So that's how I started off 2018, 2019. I was going to all those meetings before COVID, and everybody flock to you when you tell them you got money. They come into you with the deals because they want to borrow your money because they don't want to go through the bank. The bank is just too much red tape. It's too long. Like you got way too long. So anyway, what's your max limit? My max limit is the max of my my IRA. I can't go over that. That's all. So whatever I have at the time, that's all I got. So that's my max limit, if that makes sense. So whoever's interested in getting into this, your max limit is going to be whatever you have in your account. Also, important point. Let's say somebody's on this call right now and they're thinking like, oh, I only got $20,000. That ain't enough to get started. Well, partner. You can partner with other IRAs. You can partner with other people. It doesn't have to be an IRA that you're partnering with. You can partner to make a return on your money. Okay? Y'all follow me? Man around Mr. Pay Me One. And this dude funny in the comments. All right, so yeah, so you can partner. Don't think you don't have enough money because you can have a little. Like my wife, she doesn't have one, but she needs to. A self-directed IRA. We could partner together and make a loan. Or partner together and purchase a property. Or partner together and purchase commodity, whatever, gold, silver, all that stuff. Like you can partner together. Your shit don't have to be like this $100 million account. You know what I'm saying? You gotta start somewhere. The minimum you have to put in, the minimum $1,000, I believe. You don't have to have a lot, but I wouldn't put $1,000 on that because you ain't ready to be able to like do nothing with that. Honestly, you're welcome, Jahan. What's up? So yeah, you don't have to have I would say I think the minimum 1,000 or 3,000, something like that. I haven't looked at it in a minute, but you don't have to have a ton. Just know that. So next week, if y'all don't have no questions, if y'all do have questions, what's up, Jude? Post them below. Look, next week we talking about HELOCs. I apologize about earlier, man. I don't know what the hell happened. Like they hit me with the copyright stuff because the big timers, I guess. But I always play music at the beginning, so I got to figure that out. Maybe I'm gonna have to start going back to the future or something. They ain't gonna hit me with the copyright if I go back in time. So anyway, y'all have any questions, post them below. Otherwise, next week we talking everything HELOC. So home equity lines of credit. We're gonna talk about that, Dermis. I know you've been saying that for weeks now, so I got you, bro. I promise I got you. And remember, this week sponsored by Buffalo Trace, Single Barrel Select. You dig? Man, y'all just come here to have fun in the comments, cause that's what it seemed like, y'all three. For real. Y'all just come and like to play in the comments. Yeah, Dolo, I got you, bro. I promise. So yeah, HELOCs next week. Tap in if y'all have questions. No, for real though, like real shit. Self-directed IRAs. I love this stuff because it's different. It's a way to get out of the traditional stock market. So if y'all have any questions on self-directed IRAs, y'all interested in borrowing some money, y'all interested in just getting started, I can help you with that. Real talk. That's what I'm here for. So hit me up. What was the question? No, man, I asked the question. What was your question, Joy? I'm sorry. I thought you were bullshitting. Like normal. What's the minimum? Well, I told you the minimum already. My bad. So anyway, appreciate y'all. Next week, HELOCs. Let's talk HELOCs. But hit me up in a comment or DM me if y'all have questions on self-directed IRAs. Don't forget them 2 books. Let me show you one more time. So we got Self-Directed IRA in a Nutshell. That's one. That's pretty, it's not a hard read at all. I somewhere over there. But it's not a hard read at all. That's a pretty quick one. But the other one, I definitely, if you're going to pick just one, definitely get this one. This one fire. I ain't gonna lie, go in so much detail. This probably like the best resource on self-directed IRAs, honestly. So hit me up if y'all have any questions on that. But that's what I'm here for. Yep. Brandon, hit me up. Whatever y'all need, man. I'm here for that. So I appreciate